After the break, I think we're talking golf, finally.
One segment to go.
One segment with Warren Simons, and we have been mentioning golf all programs, so we'll be interested to maybe get him to answer a few of the questions that Jeff alluded to a bit earlier.
Absolutely, I need all the help I can get. Yeah. See you in a minute. Welcome back to the show, our last segment coming up, and I hope you've enjoyed Dean Ward, Jeff Hammond and Victoria Ballaminos, and she's got a future, that girl, hasn't she?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, look out for her in the Matildas London 2012. I think she'll be up there, one of the strikers.
Yeah, lovely girl, and scoring goals, so that's what you've got to do in soccer, because there's not enough goals scored. But
7 goals in a match, it's not a bad effort.
It's all right, it's all right, it's not bad. And well, our next guest joins us on the couch here, final guest of the show tonight, and Warren Simons. We've seen a lot of you during the
yeah, we feel like you're a part of the show.
Yeah, it's some great golf tips and getting out of bunkers and all off the tee.
Trouble with your slicing.
It's been a lot of fun, actually.
Oh, you've done well, mate. And hopefully you've helped a few of our viewers, mate. And good to have you in. Involved pretty heavily up at Mount Lofty. And I suppose the first thing first, talking about Mount Lofty, you've got a lot going on with the juniors up there, which is great.
Yeah. I like to work. I like to teach everyone and get everyone playing golf. But juniors is the future. And when I was a junior, I had a fantastic coach, but apart from that, there wasn't a really lot of things happening with juniors. So I decided that when I was younger, and when I first became a professional, that at some stage I wanted to try and put a lot into youngsters coming through, because if you've got someone helping you and someone showing you all the right things from the start, it just means it's a lot easier down the track. It saves a lot of grief.
Mate, what are the common things in young golfers that you need to sort of work on, or perhaps correct?
Well, golf is such a technical game for a start,
absolutely.
But also it's very much in the mind. And particularly the better you get, the more in the mind it goes. So with a youngster, you're looking at someone who's a bit like Jeff was saying, someone who's keen, eager, wants to learn, wants to listen. Then you need, once you got that, you need a youngster that's got a really good temperament. Golf's a very frustrating game.
You can't swear on the course.
Well, no, that's right.
We shouldn't.
No, that's always a no-no.
Especially on telly.
But ultimately, you need a youngster that, well, the youngsters that tend to be the best ones have got really good temperaments, fairly easygoing, and can accept the bad shot. If you hit a bad shot, the world will not fall apart. Put the club in the bag, move on, try and make the next one a good one. The youngsters that tend to get a bit hyped up and then want to start throwing clubs and carrying on, they're the youngsters who tend not to go on with golf. Not always, but not to, because the game gets to them.
And they probably need to be playing the sports where they can burn up that energy, like maybe football or soccer.
Yeah, football, soccer, basketball.
Yeah, because it's such a... I've played some rounds of golf. I've actually got my own clubs, being a lefty. And it's amazing. It is quite taxing physically, but mentally is, I've found, one of the hardest things to stay focused, especially when you're playing 18 holes.
I always reckon with golf, actually, be it youngsters or older players, you need 3 requisites. You need a sense of humour, because sometimes that ball can finish in funny spots, patience, because it takes a while, and perseverance, particularly when you first learn. Because when you first learn, you have a shot that doesn't work, another one doesn't work, and you've got to keep just putting the ball there, have another try, and then as you get better in golf, you're having a really good round, and all of a sudden on the second last or the last hole you lose a ball or something, and you've got to just have that perseverance to say, oh, I'll come back next week or tomorrow, I'll try again, I'll try and learn from that mistake.
And are you trying to recruit younger people in? Are you getting people from local schools coming into Mount Lofty Golf Club? Yeah, is that how you're doing it? Definitely.
As I said, I've been big on juniors for a long, long time. So I go to some of the schools in the area. I do junior clinics on Sundays at Mount Lofty. I go to a few of the other smaller clubs in the area as well to basically try and take the game to the youngsters, and then get a percentage come back to Mount Lofty, where those that want to, I train them harder and harder, and just basically get them going, so that they enjoy the game, and also to try and help them for life, because golf's a game where a lot of the skills you need will take you through life. leadership, decision making, being accountable for those decisions. So there's more to it than just saying, look, here's a golf ball, this is what you've got to try and do, have a try. Once they get into it, I'd like to try and, in a way, be a mentor in those forming years, particularly when you're a teenager.
Now let's just look at the broader scheme of things. I'll give you some names, and the one thing in common is not as many South Australians that we'd like. You've got the likes of Baddeley, Scott, Ogilvy, Allenby, Richard Green, Johnny Senden, all non-South Australians, but there are some South Aussie boys doing reasonably well. Gary Simpson's going around okay, Wade Ormsby and one or two other names. Just fill us in on how some of the better SA boys have been going in the last year or so.
SA boys have been going all right. Gary Simpson's been on the tour for a long time now, and Gary's had some good performances. Wade's done pretty well over in Europe. He tried to get his US tour ticket last week and just missed.
Yep.
But he's only young, he'll bounce back and be fine. David Luteris has really done very, very well. Now, he finished second in the Jacobs Creek this year at Kooyonga. I thought from that performance, seeing that was co-sanctioned with the nationwide tour in America, which is the number 2 tour, I thought, well, if he just has like a reasonable year on those events in America, he'll get his ticket for the US. He didn't. Well, he performed okay, but not quite to get in the top 15 Auto Merit there. But went to the US Tour School, which is such a gruelling event. You know, it goes for 6 rounds in 6 days. 6 high-pressure rounds of golf in 6 days is just incredible. And he did very well, got his US Tour ticket, and to his credit, hopped on a plane, came straight back to Coolum last week and played in the Australian PGA and still did well. So he must have been so tired after that. So, no, he's doing well, David. He's got all the goods to do well in America over the next few years.
And I was just going to ask, how old are you? How old is he?
I think David's 23. So in golfing terms, he's a baby. He's just coming out of nappies.
And one other name, Adam Bland, we need to perhaps talk about.
Adam's been doing well, and a good event at Coolum last week. He was undecided whether he was going to play the Asian Tour School, which is on right now, or play the Australian Open.
Which is on right now.
Which is on right now, and big call. He's, I think, 5th or 6th on the Australasian Tour Order of Merit now. So he's decided, well, I'm going to play the Australian Open, which is on right now. If he finishes in the top few in that will just open up doors for him into the big tournaments in Europe, a few invites into America next year, and could really be a turning point in his career.
Let's talk about the Australian Open, seeing though it is very timely to speak about it.
Yeah, it's on.
How do you think it's going to pan out this year?
It's a very prestigious event. It'd be nice to get some more overseas players here, but in America, for instance, they play for 5, 6, 7 million a week. So therefore, coming out to our event at 1.7 million isn't all that much. Ultimately, the event does have a lot of prestige to it because the players who do come only have to see the trophy with all the great names on it of the past: Norman Nicholas, Palmer Player, Von Nyder, all those names. So I reckon an Australian will win it. I know it's a lot of Australians in it, but I think Jeff Ogilvy will do well. He's won the US Open the other year.
He's had a great year, nearly 3 million US.
And he's a great player. Just a really, really good player. Allenby's in good form. Baddeley's in good form. John Senden, last year's winner, is in good form.
So the top 10 from last year are all
Peter
in
Lonard.
good form.
Pete's in great form, isn't
he? He's got Mrs. Lonard going well.
And had a break too, which is interesting because the riggers, you're talking about qualifying, but the actual riggers of the US PGA Tour are quite extraordinary. And he sort of decided, well, I'm going to have a break here because I'm starting to hate the game. And it seems to have probably got him rejuvenated somewhat.
It's not hard to be. It's not hard to be like that. It's 6 days a week, seventh day is travel. Like, you don't have much of a life between playing, practicing, gym, your fitness work, and what Jeff was talking about, diet, nutrition, all the top players are right into that because they have to be, because those little 1%ers that he was talking about is the difference between finishing 1st and 50th or 1st and 100th. So it's just full on. So as a human, you just got to take a break. And
let's go back to what Jeff said, because he did have a go at golf, saying that golf aren't doing those 1%ers or haven't yet got into it. Do you agree with that?
Some don't. No, he's right in saying some don't. Some do. And you can go right back to years ago with Gary Player. He was one of the early ones to have a tremendous fitness regime, diet, everything.
Tiger especially now.
Oh, well, Woods is just he's taken it all to another level. When he's not playing tournaments, he will train for 12 hours a day. If it's hitting balls, playing some holes, practicing his short game, off to the gym.
Recovery,
massage, the dietitian, the physio, the whole kit and caboodle. But a lot of the top players do that now. In South Australia, it hasn't happened as much, but they're getting into that now, which is a great idea, because the eastern states have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's something that you can instill in the young juniors as well, as part of the whole, if they get into it, that it's a part of, these are the extra things that you can do to make it.
I put it on under the same banner of discipline.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what you want to do in life, be it golf, a professional lawyer or something like that, or a TV presenter, whatever. You have to be professional about it, and you've got to make a commitment. And so this all goes with the territory.
Now, where do you stand on a couple of things? Firstly, appearance money in major tournaments in Australia. As we're talking about trying to get Americans and others out here, players on the European tour, they don't want to come out. It's the end of the year. They've had enough. Appearance money, is that a way around? Is it going to work in the long run?
Was rife years ago. Not much now. Our events now, our Australian players are world class. Like, we're going to have approximately 20 on the US tour next year. Then you've got other players like Richard Green you're talking about, who do very well in Europe.
Had a great year.
Our events are world class. They're good enough to stand alone, and they don't really need all that many overseas players. I don't know if enough people in Australia actually realise that when they watch the Australian Open, Australian PGA last week,
some darn good players. Yeah.
They're watching world class. They really are. And so sometimes it's like a movie. You've got a great lot of actors and actresses, and it's a good movie. But you have that one headline, like a Tom Cruise or whatever, and all of a sudden people go, wow. But really, the quality is there, definitely.
Now, what about losing the SA Open, the Jacobs Creek? I mean, that had an excellent following here, and it was a tournament that a lot of people went to have a look at to get a real good close look at the pros. Golf on TV, you see a lot of chips and putts and all that, but actually going down to see how far these blokes hit is, for me, one of the highlights of going down to the Open, only maybe for one day a year. That's got to be a real sad blow for golf here.
Yeah, it's a big loss. It's a big loss. That was, well, a world-class event. Again, I don't think enough people realised it. When it got co-sanctioned with the nationwide tour, the #2 tour in America, some of the guys coming out, the young Americans and a few of the experienced ones, they were very, very good players. And you only had to see the scores. Like, I've played Kooyonga like hundreds of times. And you take, after 2 rounds, if the weather was average or just normal and the conditions were good, par, 1 under, 2 under was making the cut. So if you shoot 271s at Kooyonga for 2 rounds off the back tees, that's really good play. You're running 60th.
You're not going to make the cut, hardly, barely.
Well, that's right. Which means if you, at the end of the day, you're only going to win 1,000 or 2,000 if you stay in that position. It was world class. As I said, I don't think enough people realised it.
Yeah, that's not good for South Australia. Before we're going to have to wrap up soon, but I want to give you a bit of a plug here, because you've got a very good profile, an amazing profile. One of the things that I wanted to mention was that you've become the 3rd professional in Australia to get your master professional status.
Oh, well done, mate.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, the PGA about 15 years ago decided that it's a high-class organisation, professional, so you needed to do further study and be up with the latest. Jeff would have done that with his coaching and cricket and bowls and things like that. So I decided, it was voluntary, and I decided, yep, I wanted to go down that road, because if you're not trying to be the best you can, why are you doing it? So I went down that road, been to a lot of seminars. I've done a few seminars myself and got right into what Jeff was talking about, all the 1%ers. And so that journey took about 15 years and become master professional, which is really good. I've regarded as a real honour.
Ah, fantastic.
And if I had my time again, I'd do it all again.
And one word answer, who could be the next, or who will be the next Aussie to win a major?
I actually think Ogilvy again.
Ogilvy can back up from his US Open win.
I think he'll be the next Australian to win.
Well, I hope you're right.
Win major again.
We need another one. It's good for the game.
We do. We need as many as we can.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Warren, it's been lovely to finally have you in the studio with us. We get to see you on the screen when you do the wonderful golf tips, but an amazing asset South Australia has in having Warren Simons here.
Thanks,
if
mate.
anyone is interested in golf, head down to Mount Lofty Golf Club. Juniors, seniors.
I've got my next junior clinic on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
There you go.
Get on down there.
And we will make sure we give you extra plugs when you're on.
Don't worry about that.
In the new year. So thank you so much. I think we're up. Time's up.
Finished. That's it. Let's go home.
Yeah, another week's gone. We've got one more week before Christmas, having a break, and we'll see you next week. But after the break, we'll be having a few weeks off to enjoy January. You'll be doing a bit of cricket. I'll be having a baby.
See you next week.
See you next week.